Hello, everybody. This is Gerudo King. I just wanted to make a quick announcement. I know I'm very on topic. Uh, what I want to talk about is this study here that I have just finished. Here we go. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. It is on my blog. So I'm going to go here for y'all. For anyone who does not know, who looks at this channel, yes, I write. I write way more often than I do videos. That's for sure. My blog is GerudoKing007.blogspot.com. I try to make sure that I have a very complex website link. I do not want many people finding this. Screw it. Our lives are hidden, so let me be hidden. This is the name. It always has been. But for anyone who is here who already knows me, this is definitely a video for you. If you click the little hamburger up here at the top left corner, you will see that this little screen studies come up. The main one that I have is the Romans study that I've been doing since maybe mid 2022. The next one is a 16 article refutation concerning eternal torment. It considers every major verse given by eternal torment theorists to proclaim that eternal torment is taught in the Bible. The one that I want to talk about today is this one, God's timeline. This timeline has been a long time coming on my end. I have been uploading articles on it for maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months now, steadily. My computer, I lost access to my computer for maybe a month, so that slowed it down a bit, but it is done now. It is, like as the name implies, God's timeline. I'm going to read this little blurb at the top here, and then I think that'll probably clarify everything that I'm doing on here. I say, hello all. This is a table of contents for the study God's timeline. This study coincides with the Roman study. And for any who do not grasp the basic arguments and points compiled in this study, should be read as soon as possible. For anyone who's reading this and is a believer, then you would know the topics in Romans 1 through 5 concern us with God's indignation, God's judgment, humanity's complete and utter unrighteousness, God's justification, God's conciliation, the salvation of all, the proper function of the law, and maybe one or two other points that aren't coming to my mind right now. So yeah. Anyways, if you are reading my Romans study, then you will come across this study between Romans 5 and Romans 6, and should simply press on undeterred. For those who wish, however, for a break from the monotonous plotting of the Romans series and would appreciate a timeline contextualization of Romans 1 through 5 with a synoptical analysis of each document in the New Testament, then you've come to the right place. Note that in the study, it will be assumed that you have read the study on Romans 1 through 5. I try to avoid alluding to it as much as possible, but the interrelated parts of Scripture sometimes require such pointing. This, along with the origin of the creation of God, are my favorite topics in the Scriptures. It was extremely formative for any writing I've published, and it has been on my heart to study for a long time. In brief, this study includes these 7 points here. 1. A presentation of the 3 heavens and the 3 earths, which God unfolds in consecutive order. It is the theater on which his story takes place, as 1 Corinthians 4:9. 2. It considers a brief analysis of the word world and some vital verses in preparation for the word study on eon. 3. It concerns an etymological observation of the word ion or eon. 4. It concerns a lexicographical, I'm terrible at saying that word, observation of the word ion or eon. That's just considering the various definitions of the word over the course of history. The 5th point, it is conducting a word study which observes each and every use of ion in the New Testament. The 6th point, it considers the purpose of the eons, including an analysis of each dispensation and administration conveyed in the scriptures from chapters 17 to 25. And the 7th point, it conducts a word study observing each and every use of ionios, the adjectival form of ion in the New Testament. Below each link, there are citations which display which verses are considered in each article to help the active reader understand the structure of the series and further find info on a particular verse. And then without further ado, here's the 36-part study considering God's timeline as presented in the New Testament. So verses that are bolded in this like light yellow color are explicitly discussed in greater detail throughout the article itself, whereas the citations in this hazier orange are supporting verses. They do tie in. I do cite them for a reason, but they are supportive, not the centerpiece of anything. Usually. Is it perfect? No, I'm human, so I'm sure maybe I didn't properly bold something here or there, but I think the general thought of what this is tied together very quickly. The first 3 chapters will cover the 3 heavens and earths. Chapters 4 and 5 cover the world, the word world. Chapters 6 and 7 cover the etymology and the lexicography of ion. Chapter 8 takes a bird's eye view to the eons themselves. Chapters 9 and 10 start considering the singular form of the word ion, considering the first 3 eons entirely, primarily the 3rd eon. That's the main focus, of course, of the scriptures. So, the 4th eon is considered in chapters 11 through 13. It is challenged with the phrase "for the eon." Of course, it is introduced, the concept of the 4th eon, the millennial kingdom, 1,000-year kingdom of Israel is introduced in chapter 11. And the priesthood is discussed in chapter 13. Of course, Hebrews is really the primary focus of that article. Chapter 14 gets into the plural use of ion. Chapter 15 and 16 get into the eons of the eons, the eon of the eons, and the eon of the eon. All 3 of those phrases as they appear in the Greek scriptures. Then, as stated before, chapters 17 through 25 consider Ephesians 3:10, the purpose of the eons, which would indicate that each eon has its particular purpose. They are one part of the whole. So each eon has its purpose, and that contributes to the whole purpose of the eons. So I go through the purpose of each eon. Why does each eon exist? What do they do? This involves getting into the administrations. The first 2 administrations dealt with in Eon 2. 8 administrations dealt with in Eon 3. And then Eon 4 deals with an administration, and Eon 5 deals with an administration. That makes 12 administrations in all. And that ends, like I said, with chapter 25. Chapters 26 introduces the adjective aionios. There are 5 parts to the eons. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, and Part 5 here from chapters 27 to 31, which considers Aeonian life, that phrase Aeonian life, and every appearance of it, starting in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and introducing it in John, really focusing on it in John. Part 3 deals with it in John 6. Part 4 deals with the rest of John and the rest of the circumcision letters. And then part 5 deals with Acts and Paul's letters. Chapter 32 deals with the adjective in Hebrews. Well, and 33 feels important. And then, and only then, does chapters 34 and 35 consider the judgment of the nations. The Matthew 25 chapter. Chapter 24 is preparatory, and chapter 25 tackles the passage piece by piece, which is important because you'll see a lot of Christians point at those texts first to try and prove eternal punishment or eternal loss, when almost every other use of both the adjective form and the regular form of eon, the noun, cannot possibly be translated as eternal. And then there's a little conclusion, it's a little doxology at the end. So yeah, we'll see. I will say anyone who follows along with Ace Theo's channel will be able to hear a discussion of these, hopefully over the next few weeks ish. Hopefully that'll be good. But nevertheless, this is what I've been working on. This is finally done. I'm very glad to have it done. It is about time. I'd like to move on now and work on other things, but nevertheless, I think that this is a very helpful resource, both for myself, because I'm sure I won't be able to retain all of this information, and hopefully it is valuable for you all as well. I know our brother Keith told me that he especially really liked this one here, part 8 of the purpose of the eons, and part 9 are both considered really good to him. So I'm really glad about that. Personally, I really love the first 2 parts of this one as well. I think they're really interesting as well. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here. This one was a little less important to me, but it felt really satisfying to be able to go through each definition, man's versions and definitions over the course of history, and see just how disagreeable people are on this topic. So hopefully this is, I tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. Obviously, again, I'm human. I'm easily refuted, which is why I tried my best just to stick to the text as much as possible and not myself, or my personal thoughts on any of the matters. Though, of course, like I said, it can slip in there. I'm human. But yeah, this was just a very pleasurable study. I learned a lot, and I hope that you all come to a greater realization of God as well. It is completely free. I don't want anyone to have to pay anything. I hate that idea. Yeah, that's all I got. So that's my quick announcement. In terms of the blog stuff. In other news, I am going to finish pretty much uploading Romans 2 articles. I've been rewriting some of the older ones uh, to account for, a growth, a deepening, and my understanding. Also, learning how to write in an exposition sense a little better for others, and um, help build the reader up a little bit. I've definitely grown in that regard. So that's going to keep on being worked on. Uh, yeah, I know it's a lot, but I think it's all valuable. I think it's all pretty interesting information. I don't spend too much time on detours. I can't deny it happens every now and then. But you know, again, I'm human. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'd rather just spend a bunch of time talking about these truths instead of otherwise. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Grace and peace to anyone who heard me out there. And I hope you check it out. I hope that you check out the timeline. The people who have been reading it as they've been uploaded have had very good things to say. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I've not really shared it with any Christians. I don't feel like it. I'm at that point in my life. Um, they haven't really dealt rationally with any of the points I've made. They've more so dealt with, their personal reasonings, or throwing that at me, and I'm just not interested in that. So, yeah, if you read it as well, I'd always love to know what you think. Just because I like the conversation. I love a good discussion about the facts as they are presented. Um, I quite enjoy the fellowship in that regard as well. So, I mean, we're talking about some of the most intimate things that we could ever talk about as human beings. So, um, yeah, anyone who wants to chat, I'm more than happy to do so. Okay, and that'll be it for me. Grace and peace to you all.